For 1,000 years, Constantinople stood as the city that would not fall, a place where empires broke like waves against stone, a place whispered about in distant courts and war tents, a place protected by faith, legend, walls, and fear. But in 1453, a young sultan rose with a vision darker and deeper than any before him. Not to destroy the city, but to claim destiny itself. This is how Mehmed II conquered the unconquerable. When Mehmed II ascended the throne at just 21, the world saw a young ruler. He had grown up surrounded by whispers of prophecies, of destiny, of a city said to belong to the greatest of commanders, Constantinople elbet feth oluna chakter. These words weren't just a saying to him, they were a calling. Mehmed believed something no one dared say aloud, that history had already carved a space for him, between Alexander and Caesar, between myth and empire. But to claim that place, he needed one thing, the city that had defied kings for 1,000 years, Constantinople. But Constantinople was no ordinary prize. It was the crossroads of worlds. For centuries, caravans, armies, merchants, and emperors passed through its gates. It carried the memory of Rome, the scars of crusades, and the spiritual heart of Eastern Christendom. Taking it meant rewriting the map of the world. Taking it meant reshaping history itself. And the young sultan was ready to do what 1,000 years of kings could not. Yet the city was dying, slowly, silently, and with a kind of ancient dignity. The population had thinned to a fraction of what it once was. Entire districts stood abandoned. Inside the walls, famine distorted daily life. Yet one thing remained untouched by time or decay. The walls. The legendary Theodosian walls, they were not just stone. They were a symbol, a warning, a belief that Constantinople was eternal, and for a millennium, the world had believed it. Emperor Constantine XI walked the ancient battlements in the dead of night. Every step he took echoed against the stone. Not with the stride of an emperor, but with the weight of a man carrying the last breath of an empire. Far below, the city was silent in a way it had never been before. If Constantinople was to fall, it would fall with its emperor on the walls, standing exactly where every Byzantine before him believed destiny was written. Mehmed II understood that brute force alone would accomplish nothing against walls that had defeated armies for a millennium. Urban, the master engineer, brilliant, eccentric, and desperate for a patron powerful enough to fund his imagination. Under Mehmed's protection, Urban built something the world had never seen. Inside a blazing foundry where furnaces roared like beasts, he forged giant bronze monsters. The legendary Shahi was a weapon that defied belief. Even he wasn't certain the cannon would hold together under its own fury. But Mehmed didn't flinch. He saw in the fire and smoke the future he intended to seize. And when the Shahi cannon rolled toward Constantinople, dragged by dozens of oxen and teams of soldiers, one thing became clear. The old world was about to meet something it was never designed to endure. On April 6, 1453, the siege truly began. A sound unlike anything the city had ever heard tore through the morning air. Mehmed II ordered the first firing of the massive Shahi cannons. The giant stone projectiles slammed into the Theodosian walls with unimaginable force. Blocks of ancient masonry cracked. Dust erupted like smoke, and for the first time in 1,000 years, Constantinople felt its armor tremble. From that moment, day and night, the bombardment did not stop. The walls stood, but the city's confidence began to fracture long before the stone did. Yet the Golden Horn remained the wall behind the walls. Mehmed knew this, so he crafted a plan no general had ever attempted. Under the cover of darkness, thousands of soldiers prepared the impossible: to lift an entire navy out of the water and drag it across land. Wooden logs soaked in oil. Torches flickered like stars as the first ships began to move, impossibly. The Ottoman fleet climbed the hills, sliding over greased rollers, guided by engineers, pushed by sheer will. By dawn, the impossible became real. Ottoman ships floated inside the Golden Horn, behind the chain, behind the defenses, behind every strategy the Byzantines trusted. After the Ottomans broke into the Golden Horn, the city's balance shattered. Byzantine defenders, once confident behind their walls, were suddenly forced to split their strength. Smoke rolled over the battlements like a second night, hiding friend and foe alike. From the sea walls to the inner towers, panic spread faster than fire. Messengers sprinted across narrow corridors, breathless, carrying news no commander wanted to hear. They are inside the horn, and the walls are cracking. Every tower shook with each cannon blast. The final battle had begun, even before the emperor reached the walls. As the first light of dawn broke, the Ottomans surged through the shattered defenses. Commanders climbed over the fractured walls, their banners rising like flames against the smoky sky. Janissaries poured into the city with disciplined precision. The Byzantines fought with desperation. Inside the walls, flames, dust, and shouts echoed together as the Ottomans secured one gate after another. Everyone knew it. The battle had reached its final breath. And somewhere beyond the smoke, Constantine was preparing to enter the fight himself. For the last time, Constantine XI made his choice: not to retreat, not to negotiate, but to fight, one last time, beside the men who still stood with him. News of the collapsing defenses reached him, yet he felt no fear. The final moment was approaching. And Constantine XI, last emperor of Byzantium, was ready to meet it. With Constantine fallen, the last thread holding the defense together finally snapped. Civilians flooded the streets. For the people watching from windows and shattered doorways, it was the moment they knew. An age had ended. Many fled toward Hagia Sophia, the only sanctuary they believed was left. Inside, thousands crowded beneath the massive dome, whispering prayers, holding children close, waiting for a miracle that would not come. Dust drifted from the trembling arches as the clash outside grew nearer, louder, inevitable. Then the great doors shook. Janissaries entered not with chaos, but with order, filling the vast space beneath the golden dome. Candles flickered. Civilians fell to their knees. The invincible heart of Byzantium now belonged to another empire. The fall of Constantinople did not just close a chapter, it ended an age. Mehmed II walked through the shattered heart of the city. He was no longer the young commander who had begun the siege. He had become Fateh, the conqueror. What had stood unbroken for 1,000 years now bowed before a single vision, a will that refused to bend, a mind that saw possibility where others saw walls. And as the Ottoman banner rose above the ancient towers, the world shifted. Empires would reshape. Borders would change. History itself would turn a new page. Constantinople had fallen, and a new era had begun.